I am dictating these notes for Penny Longfellow to type up for me and to edit so I can use them during my TED Talk, which is scheduled for March 16th, 2015, and this will be page 1. 3, 2, 1. Hello, my name is Mary Wentworth. My father was the very well-known and respected historian, Dr. Addison Wentworth. And today I'll be speaking about the final works of my father, the works that were not published because of his untimely passing. My father was a devout Christian, as well as being devoted to the study of science. My father believed that the two did not have to be enemies, but could both be held together in one mind. I'd like to thank Penny Longfellow, who was my father's most trusted assistant for many, many years, for helping me to put together his studies and hypotheses, for me to present just a bit of today, as I will be publishing a book to further explore my father's interest in ancient writings and wall carvings, and how he was able to compare them to religious texts to come to his controversial conclusion that the Bible supports the idea of ancient beings, possibly angels, which today's archaeologists and many conspiracy theorists have thought to be possible signs of an ancient alien civilization here on Earth. So, to begin, let's start, as they say, in the beginning, with the book of Genesis, Genesis 6:4. In those days and for some times after, giant Nephilites lived on the earth. For whenever the sons of God had intercourse with women, they gave birth to children who became the heroes and famous warriors of ancient times. Nephilites are also referred to in other translations of the Bible as Nephilim. So, let's understand what this is saying. Genesis is generally believed by Bible scholars and evangelicals to be written by Moses after the flood. These giants, these Nephilim, were the sons and daughters of the sons of God, which were angels. Angels walked on the earth with men. Now we skip up to Genesis 4:16 through 17, which states, When Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden, Cain had relations with his wife, and she conceived, and gave birth to Enoch. And he built a city, and called the name of the city Enoch, after the name of his son. Now, the question has long remained, with whom did Cain mate? Who was living in the land of Nod? Was it these angels? Would it be the Nephilim of which the Bible speaks? Many will say that it was Cain's sister, but the fact of that is that is never established. And so all we really have to go on is there were beings in Eden and there were beings in Nod. Were these ancient beings depicted as what we see today as aliens? Were the flying machines carved into caves and pyramids centuries ago aliens or angels, or one and the same? Because even angels didn't come from Earth. Throughout history remain undying questions. How were the pyramids built? Between their size and their precise nature? How was Antarctica mapped out 500 years before it was discovered? And the only clear explanation being that there had to have been an aerial view of the land, as it was impossible at the time to map out any other way. How did the blue stones of Stonehenge get 180 miles from their origin, with each weighing between 3 and 5 tons? And what ancient civilization created Stonehenge? And why? And how did they create it? Why are there cave and wall drawings dating back to the beginning of time, depicting flying objects, beings with large heads and eyes, the same large heads and eyes that many believe to resemble our current idea of aliens? Were those beings the sons of God? Were those civilizations helped out by the sons of God, angels who walked the planet and mated with humans? Is the giant that David fights a Nephilim? The Bible refers to a flying object in Ezekiel 15 through 21, which states, As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance of the structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all four looked alike. They each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the four directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. Their rims were high and awesome, and all four rims were full of eyes all around. When the living creatures moved, the wheels beside them moved, and when the living creatures rose from the ground, the wheels also rose. Wherever the spirit would go, they would go, and the wheels would rise along with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When the creatures moved, they also moved. When the creatures stood still, they also stood still. And when the creatures rose from the ground, the wheels rose along with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. My father believed that these wheels, these shining wheels with eyes encircling them, were the same depictions carved into those walls and caves. That they were objects that could fly, and therefore lift stones, explore continents, build pyramids. My father's work hypothesized that science and biblical teachings can and do reside together, that those aliens depicted in carvings are the sons and daughters of God. Those flying objects are today's UFOs, that we are inhabited by angels, that there is scientific and biblical proof that they walk among us. Okay, Penny, that's enough for today. I'll get back to it tomorrow, but please have this printed out, and anything that you see fit that needs editing, just leave a note for me and I'll look it over. Thanks. Mary Wentworth never made it to that TED Talk. She became violently ill. It was unclear what she had been ill with, as there seemed to have been a mix-up in the hospital lab. Penny Longfellow gathered all of Mary's work along with her father's. Penny was a big-boned woman, tall, with large brown eyes, long brown hair. Penny had done this many, many times before. She'd worked with some of the best scholars and scientists over the millennia. She once worked for Leonardo da Vinci. He was a bright one, she thought, as she tossed the paperwork into the fire. It was Penny's job, as a Nephilim, to be sure that these things remained chatter for the conspiracy theorists and the kooks. However, her job was getting much harder these days in the age of the internet.